Puddling up on my drive in this morning. It was quite a heavy rain.
And in a lot of places, I mean, I can imagine Norman, if anyone was in Norman wants to send a picture of Lindsay and Elm, I think I know exactly what it looked like this morning, and it was probably covered with water because it takes nothing to flood that. So the typical spots, of course, we would see that. Fortunately, a lot of the heaviest rain has started to go away from the areas that saw it first, so some of the water is starting to subside a little bit, but we're still seeing some rain on radar, and we've seen some good rain totals as well. But here's what we're seeing across the region on our Lucky Star Skycam network this morning. Some cameras a little bit wetter than others, some drier. Everyone is seeing the cloud cover still, though. A little bit of action down there in bottom left portion of the screen. Some rain still falling. But here's what we've seen so far across the state. Some really nice soaking rains. In the metro, 1.5 inches to 2 inches. And that 2-inch mark stretches all the way down to the south central and southwest Oklahoma. A lot of nice rain. Just a little bit up in northwest Oklahoma. 1/4 inch or so for many folks up there, but a lot of the state got some real rain, and we're still seeing this first wave as it's passing through the state this early afternoon. The heaviest of which is up to the north. That's that broad shield of rain. It does extend past Next Gen Live's coverage up into northeast Oklahoma, but the heaviest of it is still up in north central Oklahoma. A little zoom in on that. Some steady rainfall for Kay County. That includes Ponca City, Lamont seeing some, Red Rock and Marlins, Perry about to dry out a little bit, but had a little heavy pocket move in. Marshall about to get the heaviest bit that's in the state right now. That's been passing, went near Kingfisher, north of it, near Dover a little bit ago, but now it's heading into Marshall. Some very heavy, if we want to call it that, rain passing through at this point. Overall today, the heaviest rain we've seen hasn't really even been that blinding type rain that sometimes we get, but it has been fairly steady at times. A little bit more of a broken, steady rain with some breaks rather here across central Oklahoma, and then the farther south you get, the more broken these showers end up getting, passing through Cleveland and McLean County, and then areas south of that, Pauls Valley, Wynnewood, some spotty showers, occasionally a little downpour, but overall, we've seen the most that we're going to see out of wave number 1 already. Wave number 2 will add on to this as we go later. Look what happens. So wave number 1, it is on its way out. We will eventually this evening start to see a little bit of a break in the action, especially into the late evening and early overnight. A lot of us are drier, still a very low rain chance, but not nearly like what we saw this morning and this early afternoon. But by the early morning hours of tomorrow, southwest Oklahoma, wave number 2 starts to creep in. A lot of moisture to work with still coming in from Texas, so that works its way in by tomorrow early afternoon along the I-35 to I-44 corridor. Some heavy rain intermixed in here, so moderate to heavy rainfall possible tomorrow, especially down south, central and southern Oklahoma. Likely to see the brunt of the rainfall from this event, and then as we go into the overnight period into our Thursday morning, that's going to move its way out. Thursday trending drier and much warmer as well. We'll see that very apparent on the 9-day. Very quiet in Guthrie right now, looking at the view. Don't see any raindrops, but you can still tell the streets are wet. The clouds are socked in, and the flag down there, if you squint really hard, you might not be able to see it. It's kind of hard with how dim it is. They're blowing a little bit, but we never had any severe storms. We never had any incredibly high wind gusts out of these, but we have had a steady wind out of the south today. That has helped us, despite the cloud cover and rain, to get up into the upper 60s and low 70s, some mid 60s up to the northwest and north, some low 70s all across the south. There's that consistent south wind I was talking about. It's gusty right now, 20 to 30 miles per hour for central into southwestern Oklahoma. Not as windy at all up to the northwest. Just a wind under 10 miles per hour. So breezy this afternoon, highs in the low 70s, upper 60s, so much cooler than the last several afternoons. Through about 4 p.m., most of the rain will be up in north central and northeast Oklahoma. Some of those scattered, widespread, broken showers will be down across the south, and they'll be moving to the east as we go into this evening from about 6 to 10 p.m. Can't rule out an isolated shower here in central Oklahoma, but the much better chances for rain will be off to the east by that point, and we get that break out west until we get into the overnight period. Temperatures staying mild once again with all of the cloud cover and then the additional showers as wave number 2 arrives tonight to tomorrow morning. First into southwest Oklahoma and then eventually into central Oklahoma tomorrow afternoon, with highs once again getting stunted in the 70s tomorrow as the clouds and rain pass through the state once again, and we add on to those rain totals. Tomorrow night through Thursday morning, it will exit, and then we dry things out Thursday. But before we get there, flood advisory still remains in effect, central Oklahoma down into southern Oklahoma. And also, just got to point it out, cold air. It's bottling up in Canada, and that means, of course, we are getting to that time of year where eventually the tropical jet that we have right now that's giving us the rain is going to give way to the polar jet as we go into next week, and that is going to cool things off. Still looking at the possibility for our first freeze by the time we get to Halloween next week. That's all we got for now. News 9 is going to be back in just a few minutes.